That whole Nixon Watergate story, I used to think about it very differently until Tucker Carlson broke it down for me. Bob Woodward was an intelligence agent, and the first time he ever gets a job as a journalist, he's covering Watergate. The FBI, all the people that were involved in the break-in, FBI people, like it was a complete intelligence operation. Nixon definitely did the things they accused him of, but the whole thing was sort of coordinated by the intelligence agents to get Nixon out of office. Apparently, what the story was, according to, I can play you the Tucker thing if you'd like to see it, but apparently what the story was,
I got
it sounds crazy.
Well, it sounds.
But the story was that Nixon was digging into who killed JFK. One of the things that they wanted to set up when he was running for president is to make sure that Gerald Ford was his vice president. Gerald Ford was also on the Warren Commission. That he was digging into it, and they wanted to remove him from office. They set this up. They framed him. He did it. They got him out of office. Gerald Ford gets in.
Okay, I got a shorter version.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to take me down the Kennedy road, and where are we going there with that one? I got Richard Belzer tapes I can play for you.
Oh, I'm a fan of Belzer. I met Belzer. Belzer and I talked UFOs.
The new guy is going to
Bigfoot.
The Renew guy is going to bring out all the Warren Commission stuff. Supposedly release all this stuff
Allegedly.
That was supposed to. Yeah, allegedly.
But my
right.
question is, what the fuck is going to be in there?
Good call on allegedly. I like that. Yeah.
It's not going to be, hey, this guy did it. Here it is.
No, here's the way I see the Bob Woodward story. See, you said I don't know. What did you say first about Nixon? About your way of looking at Nixon. The way I look at Nixon, and part of it is seeing this. I like this way that I love the way Langella did this. I thought it was really well done, and it made a character of him. Written a person of him. But to me, here's what I feel about Nixon. Is like, he was hard to care for. He ran against JFK, who was everybody's, my hero. And my father actually pushed me into John F. Kennedy in 1960. Just pushed me into the crowd and just pushed me up so I bounced up against him. Now I'd have been wrestled to the ground, but back then you could do that. Anyway, I felt like Nixon was, and certainly knowing Hunter and knowing all of the history of Nixon and whatever, Nixon wasn't my guy.
Oh, agreed.
He was not my guy.
No, I'm not defending Nixon in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I talked about Nixon before that I think he's the problem with the whole psychedelics drug legalization act.
Okay, we can agree on that. But however, when I read Wired, the book written by, Woodward, about Belushi, I read like 5 pages of Wired, and I went, oh my God. They framed Nixon. like all of a sudden I went, oh my God, if this is what he writes about my friend that I've known, for half of my adult life, which is completely inaccurate, talking to like the people of the outer circle getting the story, what the hell could they have done to Nixon? I just felt like if he did this to my friend like this, and I acknowledge I only read 5 pages, but the 5 pages I read, made me want to set fire to the whole thing.
Jamie, see if you can
find
that.
Those 5 pages, I went, if he did this to Belushi, what he did to Nixon is probably soiled for me too. I can't take it. And I know you say, well, you could have 2 sources and everything like that, but the 2 sources that he had, if he had them for the Wired book, were so far outside the inner circle that it was criminal, cruel. And the reasoning for it is that the most famous person ever to come from Wheaton, Illinois, is John Belushi. The second most famous person to come from Wheaton, Illinois, is Harold Red Grange, the football player. And the third most famous person to come from Wheaton, Illinois,